Welcome to the Growth, Grace, and Prosperity Podcast. Join Stewart Heath for down-to-earth conversations with top professionals, entrepreneurs, and leaders who have a story to tell. Let's get rolling.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining another episode of the Growth, Grace, and Prosperity Podcast. I'm Stewart Heath, your host. I'm the founder and CEO of Harvard Grace Capital, and we have JT Marlin with us here today, and he is a partner in Contracting LLC or Corporate Contracting LLC, I believe. That's correct. And we're going to hear his story, and his partner may join us, and that would be awesome as well. And if he can join us, we'll stop a bit and introduce him as well. But JT, thank you so much for being here.
You're welcome. I appreciate you having me.
So anybody who's watched this podcast realizes that I tend to have guests of a certain age. I'll just say I like to talk to people who've had some good experience. Nothing against young entrepreneurs and young successful people, but most of us are at our peak later in life. So when you think back on your journey and in your career, is there a time that you would call was the game changer that took you off of the path that you thought you were going to be on and put you on the path that you're on here today?
Yeah. It happened twice for me.
Okay.
And this guy right here, I'll introduce you to Robin. Come on in here. This is Robin Forrest. This is my business.
Hey, Robin, how are you?
Good, thank you.
Thanks for joining the podcast.
Robin changed my life a couple of times. Once as a customer, I was in the communications sales back in the late 90s. And Robin was one of my customers that carried my phone around, the old Nextel. And back when we talked on walkie-talkies, you know?
Yeah,
and
I remember.
Robin and his company introduced me to the guy that got me into this business. And I worked for that guy for 7 years and basically was competition for Robin in this world. And then when I decided in 2007 to leave that company, I ended up with Robin again. And that's probably the best change I've ever made. Outside of marrying my wife and having kids, my partner here is right there in that top.
My dad used to say the secret to life was picking the right partners.
There it is.
Whether it's your marriage partner, your golf partner, or your business partner. And that is so true.
Yeah.
Seen,
and I'm living proof.
Yeah, I practiced as a CPA for 25 years before I did other stuff, and saw so many partnerships just come apart at the seams.
Yeah.
You think it's a good idea, but you just couldn't get along. So
yeah. Robin and I never had a problem getting along, and we think a lot alike, and the things we disagree on, we just talk about it, and it ends up making sense to one or both of us.
Yeah.
And
well, that's amazing.
His idea, my
Quite
idea,
the blessing, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It is.
Okay, gentlemen, going back, sort of a similar question, but a little bit, perhaps a more negative approach to it. Is there, everybody hits bumps in the road. Sometimes they change what you're doing, other times they don't. But can you tell us about a time where you hit a bump and how you got through it?
Yeah, we've had a few bumps. We've had some people leave here that were in positions that were hard to fill, but it ends up having other folks rise up within the company. Everybody bootstraps up and gets in there and takes care of it. And then usually it works out. And that's happened here a couple of times that, it just happens.
Loss of a key employee.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Regardless of what it is. We've got one right now that's going through a little eye surgery, and that would have been a game changer, was a game changer for 16 months. Having someone who's very vital, struggling with just keeping their eyesight.
Oh, that's awesome.
And broke it right down to just, let's keep it real. What's going on here? What is right. Important? What is not important? And she's been a trooper all the way through it. She's hopefully having her last surgery today, and we'll get her back with 2 good eyes. And so, yeah, game changers in business, you should expect them all the time.
Yeah. How do you prevent the reliance on key employees? Can you?
Prevent the relax,
The reliance.
the reliance. Woo, cross train. You know, the way I look at certain positions is there needs to be a few people that can do what you do, and if there is, then you've got a little bit of a spare tire that you can get down the road with.
Yeah.
But if you don't have anybody else that can't pick up the slack, fortunately, the biggest change for us when that gentleman left, that is something that I also did, was the restoration part of our business. And Robin can step in for me just about anywhere, but his restoration on paper doesn't go as deep as mine. So that's where I had to jump in and carry the ball, and Robin carries the ball everywhere else in the company. But on the restoration side of the business, I was the only other master restoration tech in the house. So that fell directly on my shoulders until we got a couple other guys squared away. So
The joys of entrepreneurship.
it is a deep hole. We just keep digging,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
but it's I wouldn't have it any other way.
Yeah.
You know, it is really nice doing what we do.
Yeah. Some of it, we're just wired that way and we can't go work for somebody else. But
Yeah. I mean, those are some pretty severe, pretty big bumps in the road that we've, you know, we've lost some subs, we've lost some things that really matter in our world. But having a good business partner that you can rely on, that thinks like you do in most circumstances, especially about the customer and about the employees.
right.
Having that yin and yang right there is really important. And it's been a special part of our life.
That's
life.
great. That's I've already said it, but I mean that's really a blessing. I mean most business partnerships do not last. Y'all know that.
Yeah,
So.
it's hard to get somebody that you trust to go into the conference room for you.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
All right, gentlemen. As business owners and as businessmen, we all have to stay current, learn new things, new technologies that come down the pike. Maybe technology may be a big part of your business. It may not. How do y'all go about staying current? What resources do you pull on? I mean, do you learn everything you need to know from Fox News, or so talk about staying current as business professionals?
I'm a member of a couple of organizations around town. That helps me stay current. I ask a lot of questions. I listen a lot. LinkedIn helps keep some things current in my world. That's the only social media that I do, but I try to stay current in my business. Try to stay current in real estate. Try to stay current in things that I'm passionate about, and you find a way. The younger generation in my networks, I lean on them. You know, I watch what they're doing, the trends that they're looking at, and then the young generation that work with Robin and me. During our operations meeting, it's everybody. You know, if you've got an opinion, please share it. That might be the one we need. And so technology changes slowly in the janitorial restoration a little bit faster. You always come out with a new toy.
Right.
But drying buildings and getting buildings healthy is still pretty cut and dry in a lot of situations. But with AI coming, you know, we have to think about that. Even me changing to, you know, host on LinkedIn. You know, the older generation struggles with change. I'm trying not to, you know.
I have my daughter that does that for me.
There it is. You know, you gotta trust the young generation to do some things for you, and then try to learn it as we go. I'm not scared of change. It's just challenging.
It's just harder when we get older, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
So how far, and this is a serious question, because how far out is it that robots will take over the janitorial business?
I mean, there's cleaning going on right now robotically. There's vacuums that have come out to where they're robotic. They just take care of the sweeping. There's some that are used on larger scales, airports, hospitals, hallways are wider, schools. But when you get into the Class A, Class B, Class C, multi-tenant office building, there's so many curveballs with the way the restrooms are set up. Floors 1 through 5 could be the same, but 7 through 10 have been updated. So you'd have to have 2 different programs or 2 different robots to do the same job in that building. So it's coming, but the human touch, I think, for the cleaning business will be there for quite a while to come. I'm counting on it, brother. I'm counting on it.
Right. Yeah, I hear you.
But for for floors that is just wide open space with a few obstacles in there, we already play that a little bit. But to come in and clean the restrooms, dust the filing cabinets that have a plant and a trophy on there, that's worth $20,000. I don't want to trust that to a robot. Let me get that.
Right.
Dusting somebody's credenza. You have to be careful.
Yeah, I think that's probably a bigger challenge than driverless cars.
Oh
yeah, because everything's different. So anyway, it's coming. Like you said, it's coming.
yeah.
So one of the questions we like to talk to our entrepreneurs about is essentially what do they do with their money, that they get from their business. And we're not asking for dollar amounts or
Sure.
or anything like. What do you like to invest your personal cash in?
Real estate. Whether it's I like rental properties, apartments, buildings like my business partner and I work out of. We were fortunate enough to buy this back when 2010. Nashville was different back then, thank goodness.
It's probably worth a bit more than that now, isn't it?
Yes, sir. But if I sell it, where am I going to go?
Yeah.
But no, this building has been a real blessing to us. It was put in our path for a reason, and it's been a struggle. It was an old building that was falling down. I've got Rackley roofing on my roof right now, putting a roof on it because the roof's 40 plus years old.
Wow.
So I can only do leaks for so long before I have to, I don't want to do mold jobs in my own building.
I hear you. I hear
you. Yeah, I do like real estate. I don't teach. I'll talk about real estate with my associates, the guys that work with us, the young generation on how to understand real estate. I think that's something that they've skipped in middle school and high school. There's books on my desk that I give away.
Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Look,
I've got a stack of them too.
Hey, that was the biggest game changer outside of my wife and Robin.
Yeah.
When I read those 3 books there, it took me on a journey to dig deeper into business and real estate.
Yeah, I'm a CPA, and can you imagine what I went through when you asked the question, "Is your house an asset or a liability?" I'm like,
oh yeah.
We're changing the definition.
Yes, yes. A friend of mine sent me a book in 2005.
Yeah,
and I was not the guy in high school that was in there studying his books, but a friend of mine sent me a book, and it's not one of those 3. It's another one, Advantages in Real Estate, in the same Rich Dad Poor Dad family.
Yeah. And
I read it, and it changed my mindset.
Yeah. Sometimes your mind's just going to be open to it. So
yes, sir.
Do you do anything in the stock market? Are you buying crypto or Beanie Babies or anything like that?
No, sir. I've got a gentleman that helps me. I've got 2 daughters. One's at Auburn and one's a volunteer, a freshman and a junior. I'm right in the thick of it. But several years ago when I had kids, I started their 529s, and thank goodness, because school is expensive.
Oh.
But he also plays with a little bit of my money. And when I say a little minute bit, myself personally, no Bitcoin, nothing like that. Stock market, I have no idea what's going on. that's my 2025 goal, is to maybe understand that a little bit, grab a couple of books and dig into them and open my mind to understand that enough to be dangerous, or to ask him different questions that he can help me with.
I think across all of our different interviews, I think the common thing is the entrepreneurs invest in what they know. There's a lot of real estate, and there's a lot of guys in the stock market too, but they understand it,
Yes. Yeah.
and I think that's always good advice. I think even Warren Buffett said that. So
Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, I like rental properties. I don't like to sell my real estate. I like to just keep them and grind on it and milk that cow.
Understand. I understand. I do the same thing with ours. So.
Oh yeah.
All right, we're coming to the end here, JT. If you had one nugget of advice for anyone that was following in your footsteps or somebody you're mentoring, what would it be?
Sometimes you just gotta say some prayers. Don't be scared. Dig in and know you can do it. You have to try, or you'll always wonder if you could. So you just got to dig in and try. And if it fails, well, as you know, there's a lot of years, and change can come pretty quick, pretty drastic, and you don't know which way it's going to go. But if you don't try, well, I can promise you, I know which way it's going to go. It's going to go nowhere. So roll up your sleeves, try it, be ready for a long journey, but it gets easier as you go.
You miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Yes, sir. You're exactly right. Well put.
Right. Yeah. I love that. Well, thank you for being here with us today.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Are you open to people reaching out to you on LinkedIn or anything?
Oh, sure.
Yeah. Well, what's your LinkedIn address? How would they do that?
Oh, JT Marlin, Corporate Contracting. So I couldn't tell you. That's my 2025 goal. I get on LinkedIn a lot, looking around, but outside of JT Marlin Corporate Contracting here in Nashville, Tennessee, I couldn't tell you what my profile ID or any of that is.
Well, I will make sure my assistant gets it, and we'll put that link in the show notes so somebody can just click on it and reach out and start a conversation. Because I don't know that I could find it either.
Yeah, I'm not hard to find. My phone, I'm a janitor. My phone rings 24 hours a day, and I answer it as many times as I can.
I bet. Well, thank you again for being here, and thank you to the audience for watching this episode of the Growth, Grace, and Prosperity podcast, and we hope that you'll join us for the next one. Thanks a lot.
Great time. Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in to the Growth, Grace, and Prosperity podcast. If you'd like to be a guest, visit growthgraceprosperity.com/guest. We'd love to hear your story.